I'm Lisa from Lori's Country Cottage. Welcome to Schoolhouse 2022. I am so excited to show you some new products that have made my quilting more precise. I am so excited to share with you the Maven 1251S from Reliable Irons. I got my Maven iron about a year ago. So when Schoolhouse came, I thought I would love to share this with all my quilting friends. Let me show you what's so special about the Maven. The most important thing, in my mind, is it has a 1 liter water tank. You pull the water tank off, take it to your tap, and fill it with water. That's 3 times more water than a standard home iron will hold. Now, you can use tap water in your Maven iron because it has an anti-scale cartridge. The instructions say to change your cartridge every 6 months to 1 year. I've had my iron for a year and I did just change my cartridge, but it looked perfectly fine to me. The Maven also has a self-cleaning setting. It'll light up and tell you when it's time to clean your iron. I haven't had that happen yet, and I use my iron a lot. Let me tell you a bit more about the Maven. It has 4 temperature settings, actually 5, but the 5th setting is eco, and that's barely warm. So setting 1, 2, 3, and 4. I keep mine on 4 all the time. It also has a beautiful ceramic plate. Why is that important? It's important because ceramic will spread the heat evenly over the whole surface instead of just where the heating core is. The Maven has an automatic shutoff, a great safety feature for quilters. It heats up really fast. When the iron is off and completely cold, it will heat up to a full number 4 heat in 52 seconds. I timed it. And when the automatic shutoff engages, I waited 10 minutes for it to cool off. All you have to do is pick it up or hit a button, and it reheated to number 4 in 21 seconds. By the time I get organized, my iron's already hot. Something else I love about the Maven is its steaming function. It has a trigger to activate the steam so that you have complete control over when you want steam and when you don't. The Maven also adjusts the steam level to the heat level you have your iron set at. You can also do vertical steaming with your Maven if you like to steam your clothes. The Maven has a 60-inch cord or hose coming from the water reservoir to the iron. At home, my ironing surface is always set up, so I don't really have to move my Maven, but I can reach all the way to my other table to do any pressing that I need to do. I'm lucky I don't have to put my Maven away, but if you need to put your iron away at the end of your quilting day, the Maven has a function where you can lock the iron on and pick up the whole iron to put it away wherever you need to. Something neat I saw on the internet is that you could also have a cart with wheels. Keep your Maven on the cart and slide it underneath your sewing table or into the closet. The only thing I had to get used to with the Maven from my old iron is that you can't set the Maven on its heel. You've got a water hose. So I picked up a silicone iron mat. This is the one from Gypsy Quilter. This is the one from It's So Emma. They both are safe up to 500 degrees. The biggest difference is that the It's So Emma one is bigger. It's easier, you can be less accurate when you put the iron down. The Gypsy Quilter one is the one I have at home. If I'm doing a little bit of work that needs 2 hands, I can do my fiddling around, press, and just throw it back here instead of putting it on top of the base. Those are the silicone iron mats. And you'll see underneath, you know this is a quilter's favorite, felted wool pressing mats from Gypsy Quilter. When you use a wool pressing mat, it's like pressing from both sides. Both the heat and the steam go into that wool, and it's like pressing from the bottom and the top. And we all know that pressing makes your seams more crisp and flat. The wool pressing mats are safe on Formica, Corian, stone, and metal. If you're going to use it on laminate, it's important to put another ironing surface underneath, like you see here. At home, I have simple plywood covered with cotton batting, and then the heat-resistant fabric, and then my woolly mat on top. To care for your woolly mat, all you have to do is to clean it is to rinse in cold water and then hang it to dry. One other thing to know about the wool mat is if you use spray starch, they suggest that you allow it to completely dry before you use your iron, or you may scorch the spray starch on your woolly felted mat. I'm really excited to show you the third hand binding folder. Let me tell you about it first. It's made out of biodegradable plastic and it's 3D printed. We've ordered in the two most popular sizes for quilters. The gray is for 2.5-inch binding and the purple's for 2.25-inch binding. It makes my binding very accurate, but more important to me is it saves me time. Let me show you how it works. Take your binding strip, and you do need to cut your binding very accurate to use the tool. I line it up at the end, make sure it's folded nicely in half. Now, insert it into the slots on the end. I like to kind of start on the bottom and then work my way up. Great design element, they've put a slit in the top and in the bottom to help your fabric move along. Once it pokes out of the end, you can grab it with your hand just with the wing nut. So clamp it onto whatever ironing surface you're using, and you can see as I pull the fabric out through how nicely it matches up. But that doesn't do me any good unless I can press it. So I take my Maven iron and simply pull your binding strip through, and look how perfect that is. My binding is pressed. Now, if you're a quilter who doesn't press their binding, you'll still love the third hand binding folder because it folds it for you. Now let me show you the binding wheel. You know when you have your binding all pressed for a whole quilt, you start with it maybe thrown over your shoulder, and then it falls on your lap. And before you know it, it's underneath your feet, the presser foot of your sewing machine, or the wheels of your chair. Well, the binding wheel is going to stop that. Simply place your binding underneath one of the stands. Now, feed that into the slot in the middle. Once you have it through, all you need to do is turn the wheel and wind up your binding. Having it underneath the leg of the binding wheel helps to keep it flat and wind it nice and tightly on the wheel. And that is the binding wheel. Although they suggest you put it at your feet, I found when I sat it on the right-hand side of my feet, I could pull my binding this way and feed it into my sewing machine. Thanks for joining me for my Schoolhouse demos. I hope you enjoyed learning about the Maven iron, and I encourage you to try out the third hand binding folder. I love it, and the wheel makes everything so much easier.